Thank you. Thank you, Ben, and welcome everyone. Let me begin by acknowledging that I'm speaking to all of you from the lands, the ancestral lands of the Stalo peoples, and I'm privileged to live and work on these lands. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about the Invention to Innovation program, which originated at SFU BD and has been supported by our valuable partner, Mitacs. Next slide, please, Ben. The reason, one of the significant reasons for the development of this program is that there is quite a gap between the research that many of us, all of us, do in universities and trying to get it out to industry. Several reports over many years have found that academic culture is often focused on research and their disciplines, and typically it's not easy to commercialize technologies. There is low receptor capacity in academia, in that over 80% of Canadian researchers or grad students may not get faculty positions, and it's a tough transition to make. There is low receptor capacity in industry too, because those who are trained in research may not be fully trained in how to adapt to industry settings, and that kind of training is often lacking in many areas. The kind of training also may be inappropriate or incorrect, which doesn't align to the needs of industry. It doesn't typically allow scientists to communicate the skills that they have. There is often an underinvestment in commercialization skills pre-founding. From a lot of our research that we will show is that there's a lot of work needed to communicate your research and your skills and capabilities. There is, across Canada, there is unequal access to commercialization and translational skills for scientists, and there's a lack of entrepreneurship training specific to research-based ideas or science-based ideas, and we'll explain how they are different and why they are different. Next slide, please. So because of all these challenges, what we have developed is a program called the Invention to Innovation program, where there are a few fundamental things that we focus on. One is that almost all of the people coming in to take these programs have done a lot of research before coming in. So they would be grad students, postdocs who have worked on their ideas for a couple of years. Sometimes we also have faculty members joining these programs. The idea being that there's a lot of work that has already been done on the scientific side. And yet, we understand that not every idea need become a science-based venture. Not every scientist coming in to take these programs need become an entrepreneur. They could become champions in industry or innovation champions in industry working with existing companies, or they could find a position in academia where their lab works on taking some of their ideas forward to develop their platform technologies in various ways. So one of the really unique aspects of the Invention to Innovation program is the recognition that it's not just the one option that is there in front of scientists, that every scientist with an idea needs to start a venture. In fact, scientists with an idea need the training to better understand for themselves and their idea which of these pathways would be appropriate for them, for their research lab, and for their idea. So that is the unique aspect that we focus on. We don't push you towards a particular pathway. We give you the tools and techniques and mindset and capabilities that allow you to choose which pathway would be most appropriate for you. We focus on market prioritization, opportunity recognition, and validation. In doing so, you are supported by your regional leads, several of whom are here with us on the call today. You are also supported by a broad and deep team of industry mentors who are specific to the sectors that you might be targeting. All of this is part of a national network, which allows you to take your ideas from the lab to commercialization. Next slide, please. And here we have a couple of examples of students. Ben, do we have a video, or is this just an example? You're muted, Ben.
Yeah. These are all videos. So we do have a section about, in total, about 5 minutes worth of videos about from 4 different students. So I could just go ahead and play these videos as we go.
Yes, please do.
Okay. Yep.
Hello everyone, I'm Melvin from SFU Chemistry. I'm currently a PhD candidate from Dr. Hogan's research group. To me, the i2I program helped me to recognize some crucial aspects of commercialization that I was unable to previously. For example, our project, which you'll hear about shortly, was stagnant for quite a long time, since other competitors' products display similar performance as ours. By attending the i2I program, I learned about turning uncertainties into opportunities and was able to discuss this issue with my instructors, mentors, and my classmates. Eventually, the team identified the strength that makes our product stand out in the market. In short, i2I broadened my understanding of how to turn a lab bench sample to commercialize profitable products. Thank you.
Hi everyone. It's been a pleasure for me to learn from the instructors as well as the cohort throughout the i2I program. Before joining the program, I was always focused on what can the technologies do. I also felt like we have to fit into a particular business model in order to become successful. And finally, I was very comfortable talking about the science, but very scared to talk about the business. To some people, I might even sound like an alien when I'm trying to explain to them what is it that I do. Through this program, I have become a lot more focused on what the customers want and how can we build technologies that will meet those needs. I also learned that you can be flexible and creative, coming up with a unique business model, and that is okay. And most importantly, we've had the opportunities to present our ideas and give each other constructive feedback. And that has been very valuable to me. And I feel like now I can start talking about my ideas like a normal human being. Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Hi, my name is Chris Miller of the Queen's Cancer Research Institute. And I cannot believe what a wild ride the last 7 months have been for me. The i2I program has taken me from a frustrated researcher to an enthusiastic entrepreneur. Basically, our problem was that our liquid biopsy for breast cancer was so far advanced that it was no longer eligible for research funding, but not far enough advanced that we could interest larger commercial companies in actually licensing it. The only alternative really has been to then do a startup company that is able to then do the fundamental research in that translational field to really bring it forward. The i2I program allowed me to develop an understanding of the market, crafting a valid business plan, and really put things into place that allowed us to then apply to the CIHR commercialization program for exactly the support we need to really take us through that transition. It's now gone to the point where we have a really nice logo, we have incorporated, we have our first employee. Things have really moved forward in the last 7 months, so much so that there were times during the course where I wish I could go ahead like 5 weeks because I needed to really know that information for the company, because that's what we're doing now. So really, the course has evolved at the same time as our company has. So really, it's been incredibly successful. I'm hoping to hear in a month and a half that we get CHR funding. Even if we don't, though, it's put me in a position to be able to go to venture capital companies, provide them with a solid plan, and hopefully then bring in the money we need to advance this research and help save women's lives. Thank you all so much for this course and really what it's done. Appreciate it very much. Hi,
My name is Javier Tavitas, and I work at the Office of the Vice President, Research and Innovation at SFU. In my role, I support the development of large-scale funding applications for research and innovation. My goal in taking the i2I program was to obtain the skills to help researchers identify opportunities to commercialize their inventions and give relevant advice when there is entrepreneurial potential. These skills include opportunity assessment, financial literacy, preparation of business plans, and managing teams. I think these are powerful tools for those who want to pursue the translational scientist path. And an entrepreneurial mindset makes it much easier to articulate the potential benefits and impacts that result from scientific research. The i2I journey is amplified by the cohort and all the networking opportunities that come with it. You'll hear experiences from many company founders and entrepreneurs, making the learning a lot richer. So enjoy it and have fun. Before you know it, you'll be done, and you won't believe how much further along your project or venture will be.
Thank you, Ben. And these are just examples of each of the pathways that I was speaking of, pathways where scientists in the lab as PIs are taking these courses and the program to further refine their ideas and take it to the next level. We have PhD students, grad students, postdocs taking these courses and advancing their ideas further. To quickly go through the history of how this program evolved, it was founded in 2014 as the Grad Certificate in Science and Technology Commercialization. And we, in 2019, we had the first Mitacs i2I cohort emerging with funding from Mitacs. In 2020, we had the first Eastern cohort with Queen's University, and we have Professor Jim McClellan from Queen's, who's the regional lead. In 21, we had the first Atlantic cohort with Dalhousie and Memorial, and we have Professor Carlos Bazan here with us today. 2023, we had our first national cohort, and we have just completed, I believe last week, our faculty fellows program where we have a condensed version just for faculty members. 2023, we also had our first French cohort. So all of these indicate just the national breadth of our network. Can you progress to the next slide, please? Yes, so we have in our network the University of Alberta, and we have Professor Tony Briggs here with us today, the University of Waterloo, Queen's, Polytechnique Montreal, Université Laval, Dalhousie, and Memorial. And our network is constantly growing, and we have a large number of partners and industry mentors focused on specific sectors. Next slide, please. We have now trained over 400 participants with 20 plus faculty members, over 20 cohorts, and participants from over 25 universities across Canada and sometimes from outside Canada too, being part of these cohorts. And that's important because, as Javier was saying in his video, there are a lot of opportunities, particularly because at times it feels that the journey you're on is a lonely journey, and there are not many people following the same pathways as you. But with this network, you are in groups, understanding that there might be people who are following that same path. So it is quite a valuable network to be part of, and we've had our students often comment on the value they gain from it. Next slide, please. So our typical target participants are the science PhD student who receives often receives the message that tenured faculty positions are often the only option, and yet they are very few and far between. And so this is an opportunity for them to explore options beyond academia, which can often be extremely rewarding and much needed in industry. The next kind of participant is postdocs, and as some of our most recent research has shown, postdocs are often ideally placed to be taking these programs because they are not constrained by the need to complete a thesis or a dissertation, which often is the first focus for many grad students, and postdocs often have a lot of flexibility to take their ideas forward towards commercialization with the support of their PIs. There are often many research masters students who take this program, and this is, again, an option for them to explore and build their capabilities to transition beyond academia should they choose to do so. And this allows them to have the skill set and have the communication and the language needed to communicate with industry and to also help them prioritize their ideas and what they would want to work on in their career. And as you might have seen from earlier slides, we typically have several professors taking the course over the years, and there are more and more faculty members who are interested in taking their courses, often for themselves and to take their ideas forward towards commercialization. But we also regularly see faculty members who are keen to take these programs because they want to support their grad students in their lab. They want to understand this and develop the language and the commercialization skills so that not only do their own ideas benefit, but that learning and capabilities also help them choose which ideas to focus on and helps them choose how to get their grad students and postdocs into rewarding careers. Next slide, please. So again, to repeat, there is no single path. We acknowledge that there are 3 paths, not one. Of course, you can found or science-based ventures, but ventures are not the only option. You can join with this training. You would also be equally welcome in existing industries as champions of innovation. You would also have the option of if you find a faculty position to be more of a translational researcher, where the ideas that you choose to work on might benefit from more funding because you are able to write more translational research grants, which emphasize some of the commercial aspects based on the training that you have taken with us. Next slide, please. So here are some examples. Dr. Ben Britton, who took the course in the first cohort, and he's now Chief Strategy Officer of Ionomer. You heard from Ada Leung, who was Director of Operations at Cuprous. Omar Ibrahim, who's VP Research at Ziran Biopharmaceuticals. Anat Feldman, who is Senior Business Development Officer at Stem Cell. Dr. Rahul Singh, who is now Director at SFU's BC Center for Agricultural Innovation. Lupin and Finley are in SFU in very senior roles. All of these are indicative of how this training allows you to forge paths, either starting your own venture or joining existing large ventures in industry, large businesses in industry, or joining innovation intermediary organizations or support organization as Rahul has done, where they are helping other scientists and acting as funders, investors, and supporters to take some of these ideas forward. So it is just contributing to the richness of the ecosystem, and again, acknowledging that starting a science-based venture is not the only option available to you. There is more you can do. Next slide, please. Here is some impact. So we talked about Ionomer and Ben Britton, and here is some impact of Ionomer getting Series A funding with nearly $15 million funding. And just to give you some even more recent information, Ben Britton and his PI, Professor Stephen Holcroft from SFU, were just awarded the Governor General's Innovation Medals, I think last week in Ottawa. Viridis, another company from i2I, has received over 100,000 funding in 2021. Mitacs skills training finalists typically are recognized not just in Canada, but across the world with a range of awards. We also have examples of faculty PIs like Professor Stephanie Simmons from SFU, working in quantum computing, who's got significant awards and funding for the venture that she is leading. Next slide, please. So what is the i2I about? These are the 4 courses that you will take. Each course is about 6 weeks. You start with a course called the Lab to Market, where you are focused on identifying what are the industry sectors and opportunities that you can look at. You delve deeper into the second course called Opportunity Identification, where you focus on things like how big is your market, how do you help them or solve their problem, and what's the value of solving that problem. Next 6 weeks, you take courses like Business Models and Financial Literacy, where you focus on how to communicate your value proposition and completing a narrated pitch deck. Each of these courses is 6 weeks and is asynchronous. That means you take it in your time. Every week you post on the discussion board. And for these 4 courses altogether, you have a synchronous opening session, a synchronous midpoint session, and a finale session in the end. These 3 synchronous sessions are where you will connect with all of the national network that you're part of. We also have built-in office hours and mentor meetings in the second half. In the first part of the course, you're divided into regional cohorts. So that means you'll have a West cohort, you'll have 2 East cohorts, you'll have a French cohort, an Atlantic cohort. And in the second part of the course, when you start Business Models, you'll be divided by your sectors, which will be reorganized, and you'll focus on, say, the biomedical sector or advanced materials sector, quantum computing, or so on, based on the nature of your idea. The important thing also to really emphasize here is, through each of the courses, you are always working on refining your own idea. So this is a course, or this program is not just about learning theory or learning language. It is about always focusing on your idea in each course and refining your idea through each course. So the result that you get at the end is something that is always directly relevant to you and your idea and your lab. Next slide, please. And there are often many participants who like the experience of the i2I so much that they want to continue doing further work. And therefore, we have the Graduate Certificate in Science and Technology Commercialization, which has a couple of courses on leading and managing teams, financing the new venture, where we delve deeper into financing, and 2 courses on business plan development, where you're working with me and other industry instructors to really refine your business plan and get it ready for pitching in front of sophisticated investors who are often very sector specific. And for those who are interested in transitioning from this credit offering, which is the grad certificate, and using some of those credits that can flow into SFU's Management of Technology MBA program, where some of the credits for the courses that you've taken here in the grad certificate can be counted towards your technology MBA should you choose to do so. Next slide, please. So with that, I think we are at the last slide. I would encourage you to apply to the Mitacs i2I skills training program. The deadline is May 28th. That is a few days from now. It's a short application. I believe we have a few funded positions left. And so I would really encourage you to explore and fill in the application. If you're interested to learn more, you go to the i2I website, which should provide you both the research that we've done in developing this program. We often like to say that this is a program developed by researchers for researchers. And so we are tuned to what the experience in the research lab is and what are the pressures and challenges, and the program is a response to that and to strengthen the Canadian innovation ecosystem. With that, let me open it up for Q&A, and Ben, please facilitate that. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, John. I appreciate the quite the overview. As well, I do have a note here and a hyperlink to the Mitacs advisors. They are all fully aware, as I mentioned. We've been very graciously supported by Mitacs and the BC School of Business, but Mitacs has been there right from day one in terms of providing this non-credit portion, the Mitacs i2I skills training program to us. So feel free to reach out to any one of the advisors at any of the universities across the country. They all know about this program and they can answer your questions there as well. We did run a bit over time, but happy to take some questions now if there are any. Please do so in the chat, or if you feel more than happy to verbalize your question, please do so by raising your hand in the reactions, and just raise your hand.
And just to note, we have regional leads. We have Professor James McClellan, we have Professor Tony Briggs, and we have Professor Carlos Bazan, all from our different rich ecosystems here to take your questions. Jim.
Oh, we have our first question, but it's also from Jim. So go ahead, Jim.
I'm sorry, I was just going to add a quick comment to say that Chris Mueller, who was in that one video clip, the professor working on the liquid biopsy, in fact, was successful in getting a $1 million CIHR pre-commercialization grant. And I think if you ask Chris, as his company's evolved, the i2I played a very formative and important part of that process. So,
yes, and to the two questions in the chat. So at the moment, we have several funded seats. So that means that there wouldn't be costs for participating in the program, and the program is online and asynchronous, so that you would join the program and take the courses in an asynchronous fashion, with feedback provided weekly by the instructors in the course.
Great, thank you, John, for picking up those two questions. So again, this is being recorded. Oh, Jessica does have her hand up. So this session is being recorded, so feel free to, at a future date, to log on to the i2I website to gain access to this recording. But yeah, let's go over to Jessica. Please ask your question.
Yeah, thank you so much for the information session. It was really helpful. I'm just curious, for folks that have been working on a project for some time, is it best to kind of approach one of our leads or kind of mentors pre-applying for the program just to see if it's a good fit, or how have folks kind of done that generally in the past?
Yeah, Jessica, I think it'll be a good idea for in this case. I know that you're from the Valley, and so happy to discuss with you. And I think then we'll align and see how this program could be most relevant and most useful for you. Yeah. So I think what we have realized also from our research is programs like these are incredibly useful, and in taking ideas forward, but also I would say that having a buy-in from your PI, from your research lab, really adds value, and having that allows your idea to go forward. So I would encourage keeping that in mind too.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah,
John, we do have a question. We have two questions in the chat. One is, a recent graduate postdoc, less than 2 years from university, can also apply. So that's the question, and speaks to eligibility. So perhaps, John, you can comment on that.
Yes, I think we would be open to that possibility. We would look more carefully at the Mitacs regulations allowing the funding part, but happy to explore that. That said, I think often when it's a science or engineering sort of idea, you would want to have some sort of connection to a research lab because at some stage you want that. Jim, would you like to add anything more?
Really, just to echo what you said, I mean, I think we can think of a number of examples where people have done it, at the kind of stage that Meta is referring to, and yeah, but having that connection is ideal. So essentially, just reinforcing what you said, John.
Yes, thank you.
We have another question. Yeah, we have another question, John, from hopefully I'm pronouncing this name correctly, Tashidi. Is the program limited to product or services offers as well?
Yes, we are open to all kinds of ideas. The program is particularly well suited for science-based innovation, so ideas that have higher levels of both scientific as well as market uncertainty, and some of that market uncertainty sometimes also plays into the regulatory uncertainties, like for some of the biomedical ideas that you really have to think through very carefully as to what your whole pathway will be like. So this program is well aligned, and we have a number of examples of both products and services, particularly a range of services for scientists and for research labs themselves. So there are a couple of ideas we have each year where it is scientists developing solutions for other academic scientists. So we often have a lot of that.
Perfect. Another question from Alejandro. From your experience, is it better to have a tech prototype before to apply for this program?
Well, that's a great question. While it's good to have a prototype, I think what we've also learned from our research and the program is the earlier the stage, the better it is, because you get some of that feedback from the market to align your prototyping to unmet market needs. And James or Tony, you could please add if you have any comments to support it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll jump in and to build on what John was saying. So the alignment with unmet needs, the form in which your prototype takes place, very often is influenced by where you think it might have application. But if you haven't tested and reviewed, the application area that you think you're going to go into, and whether that's that a solution exists already, or that the manner in which you imagined you were going to make your solution available doesn't align with how the market wants. Good to find that out really early, and you can think of it as an iterative process. So absolutely, you don't need to have a physical prototype before you get started, and if you do, that's okay too. But don't be surprised if as you start to talk about opportunity identification and assessment and the solution problem fit, that you start to modify that prototype as well.
Yeah, and to add a little bit, often the challenge is that if you spent several $100,000 and several years developing something, you don't want to go out into the market and find out that people are not interested. And so the earlier you figure out if there is some interest, so it's a technology adoption issue. So you want to make sure that someone is willing to pay for what you are developing. And the closer or earlier you find that, the better placed you are to tweak and refine based on what people need and what you can provide based on your expertise from your labs.
Great. Thank you, John. Thank you, Jim, for adding some insight as well. We do have, I did put out a call in terms of one or two more questions, and it looks like there is two more that just squeezed in here. So we have a question from Balasuria. I have a question on the first part of your program, lab to market. I am from Montreal. One of the main criteria here is French fluency is mandatory. Just wanted to know what that with the English as language, can I apply for the upcoming cohort on lab to market Quebec fall 2024? So I'm going to just answer this initial. So lab to market, what you're referring to with this, that is a separate program that's outside of what we offer. Ours is the invention to innovation program. We do have a lab to market module, which I want to differentiate that ours is a module. What you're referring to, as written on your in your question, is a separate program that this is not part of this. Though having said that, we do have a French cohort, and there is a French information session right now about the i2I program as a whole that is conducted in French, and it is with a French cohort, and French fluency is quite mandatory if you're going to participate in that French cohort. But Jim, you have raised your hand. Maybe perhaps you have some insight into this question.
Just to build on what you're saying, Ben, and maybe just to clarify from my part is are you thinking of the lab to market, the L2M program, Quebec, which I can't remember who was actually helping to run that. It might be Concordia, versus the fact that the first module is lab to market. As far as i2I is concerned, you have a choice of doing it in French or in applying to do it in French or in English. Because we have the sections run concurrently. So if that helps, then you can decide which cohort you'd like to apply to. If you're in Quebec, you don't have to apply to the French version of i2I, but and you're certainly welcome to apply to the English and vice versa.
Yeah. So the next question comes from Haroon. Haroon, is program open to individuals who are not working university or any research group? Can we apply as engineer or researcher from industry? John, did you have a response for this?
Well, what I'd say is submit an application. You could perhaps apply, but whether it is funded or not will depend on Mitacs criteria. So at this stage, what I would suggest is get your application in, and then we'll explore what possibilities can be offered specifically for you.
Okay, thank you very much. No, that's a good response. And I think that pretty well wraps it up. As I mentioned, this is recorded and we will be posting on the website. I will distribute it. Once it's posted, I will send another email to all the attendees that have registered through Eventbrite that it has been posted so that it be made available. And yeah, feel free to learn more on the website through the QR code there, or if you want to apply right now. I think the biggest, I guess, item that you probably need to do is get a reference letter from a researcher or academic supervisor. That's probably the longest process. Other than that, as John mentioned, the application process is quite simple, relatively short. And please do apply. May 28th is the deadline. Appreciate everyone's time, and especially so to John and to Jim and Tony and the other regional leads that participated today. So thank you, everyone, and welcome any questions that you may have following this call. Enjoy the rest of your day.